Ms. Clark, Martin Luther King famously said that he had a dream of the day when his children would be known by the content of their character and not the color of their skin. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, Senator.
Well, maybe there's a misprint, but I'm sure you can clear it up for me. Dating back to your days when in school, when you seemed to argue that African Americans were genetically superior to Caucasians. Is that correct?
No, Senator. I believe you're referring to an op-ed that I wrote at the age of 19 about the bell curve theory, a racist book that equated DNA with genetics and race. As a Black student at Harvard that time, we took grave offense to this book. It was co-authored by a Harvard professor. We did a number of events to speak out against the book, and this op-ed opened with a satirical reference to the statement that you just noted. Contemporaneous reporting by the campus paper made very clear that this was not a view that I espoused. What I was seeking to do was to hold up a mirror and put one racist theory alongside another to challenge people as to why we were unwilling to wholly reject the racist theory that defined the bell curve book.
So this was satire?
Absolutely, Senator.
And where was that published?
In the student paper, the Harvard Crimson, and there is contemporaneous reporting from that time, from that day, that makes clear that these were not views that I espoused, Senator.
Well, what can I say? Satire is hard. This is Republican Senator John Cornyn clearly attempting to land some type of a gotcha question on Assistant Attorney General nominee Kristen Clarke by dredging up an old paper from when she was a college student roughly 25 years ago. Only the paper quite literally proved the opposite point that Cornyn was trying to nail her on. So yeah, not exactly the home run that Cornyn was hoping for. Here's the thing. John Cornyn is a United States Senator. He has a staff. He has advisors. And presumably, he's got the basic sense to discern between something that's real and something that's satirical. And yet at no point in the process was that the case. If this guy could get tripped up on his own questioning with something so simple as recognizing basic satire, then imagine the risks involved in matters of actual importance. But then, John Cornyn really isn't concerned with matters of actual importance because all John Cornyn is concerned with is theatrics. That's why, while Democrats were focused on the American Rescue Plan, vaccinating the population, and introducing the infrastructure package, Cornyn was helping Ted Cruz lead a delegation of Republican senators to where else but the southern border. And this wasn't just any trip to the border, this was full cosplay, including flak jackets and an armored boat, just in case any of those unaccompanied children fleeing starvation and violence posed a serious risk to these full-grown men. And in case you didn't think it was a photo op, they were quite plainly there posing for photos. It could not have been more of a textbook photo op in the most literal sense of the term. The simple fact is that if these Republicans spent even a fraction of the time they spend on the theatrics while pandering to the base on the most basic aspects of their jobs, we might actually have a functional government. But instead, it's wasted time on gotcha questions that ultimately just make the guy who asked them look like a fool. And I know I harp on this a lot, but it's a point worth repeating. The reason that Republicans want the government to look like a circus is that they are fundamentally opposed to government itself. Their entire MO is to shrink it, and so they will do whatever they can to prove that it doesn't work. Even if they themselves are the ones breaking it, they'll still do exactly that and then just blame it on the Democrats in the end. But ultimately, the goal is to show Americans that Washington is a dysfunctional body that's too incompetent to handle solving any problems. In reality, it's only one side that's not interested in solving problems, and they make that clear on a daily basis. So at the end of the day, Kristen Clarke will likely get confirmed, and John Cornyn won't have accomplished anything other than putting his own ignorance on full display. In the meantime, it might help for someone on his staff to familiarize the senator with the meaning of satire. It might just save him from embarrassing himself in the future. To see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe. And for a deeper dive, check out my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, where I discuss the week's top stories and interview major players in the world of politics, like Vice President Kamala Harris, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, Elizabeth Warren, Chuck Schumer, Katie Porter, Pete Buttigieg, Nancy Pelosi, and many more. Again, that's No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, available anywhere you listen to podcasts.